invite on our panelists. Hey, Bernicia, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do?
Okay, so my name's Bernicia Boateng, and I'm a makeup artist in London.
Perfect. You definitely undersold yourself there, but it's fine. We'll get into it. Charlotte, introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do.
Hi guys, I'm Charlotte Williams and I'm a marketing consultant, and I've just launched an agency called 76, which officially launches tomorrow. So I work with a whole array of brands, and my main focus is around diversity, so putting black and brown people as well as the LGBTQ community into the forefront of campaigns and just getting us out there. Am I not close enough? I hope you all heard that because I don't want to say it again. But yeah, so diversity is my thing.
Perfect. And next up, I'm going to invite Zelica Jones.
I feel really nervous all of a sudden.
I don't know why. You're never nervous.
Hi, so I'm Zelica Jones, and I run a company called VAS. So we provide all the back office services for small businesses. So we can be your virtual PA, we can be your accounts department, your HR department, your design, marketing, PR. I focus on the financial side. So I've been a bookkeeper for the last 20 years, which kind of exposes my age, but but yeah, that's me.
Cool. And last but by no means least, can we introduce and give a round of applause for Adelaide?
Hi, I'm Adelaide. I think most of you saw me walking around in my blue coat, but I'm the events manager here, and I'm like the cultural curator as well, but also co-founder of Born and Bred, Creative Collective.
Cool. Thanks so much, guys. You guys can give Adelaide another round of applause. All right, so we're going to get started, and whoever's holding the mic first is going to answer. But one of the first questions that I received, so on my Instagram stories, I put up some questions. I put up each of your pictures, and I said, do you have any questions for these women? And one of the most frequent questions which came through was, where did you get the money to start your business from? And I think it's really important to start on money, and I try to start panels talking about money as frequently as possible, because I feel like as black women, we're not transparent enough. We don't have conversations about money enough. So therefore, how can we help each other? So who wants to get started?
Everyone looked at me. I guess, let me start with just Born and Bred side of things. We started with no money, £0 in our bank accounts. We put about £20 in each month for each other, just for like, if we wanted to go out for a meal. It was more of a sisterhood kind of thing. But we started making a fanzine. So a fanzine is just a kind of DIY, do-it-yourself kind of vibe of a magazine. And then it was mostly us interviewing friends we knew, finding people who were new in the music industry, and we were just interviewing them, saying we have no money, etc., etc. And then, that's how we started. And it was all free, all literally scan. I used to be a teacher. I used to scan it at work and rinse the toner like crazy. And then people would be asking me, how did the toner run out? I was like, oh my goodness, I do not know. Kind of mad. And then it got picked up by loads of other like larger platforms like Dazed, ID magazine. And then simply from there, we just started to get lots of attention on terms of 5 black women putting together a publication, but also the relationship we all had. From there, we started a radio station on NTS. From NTS, it just went through the roof. We started DJing, and then that's how we started to roll bank. We just invested that money within ourselves. Through all our DJ gigs, we didn't pay ourselves for about a year and a half. We didn't know what to price ourselves. We were just saying yes to every gig, that's sick. We were just doing it for the culture. Oh, this is great, we'll get our names out there. Not knowing there's a price to every job. There is a price, trust me. And the price you have in your head is never too high. So we just started to ask for higher amounts, and then our bank account started growing. but we're still doing the fanzine simply because that's what we loved. From there, we got our first commercial job was with Gap UK, and we were asked to put on a campaign for them on their Instagram. So that's when we started to roll into like social media coverage, and we made a fanzine for them over the Christmas period. And it was just basically that introduction of social media influencers, but we just used ourselves, we styled ourselves, everything came back to us. And that's literally how we got our money. That first job was actually £10,000. So working with like big brands, that's how we've been able to kind of keep money in the bank for ourselves. And then since then, we've just been working with loads of different brands, and that's how we've started to roll the money in and the DJing as well. So, yeah.
I love your answer because you made it clear that you guys just started and you didn't really know what to do, but you just got started with it and you figured it out and you put in work.
Yeah.
And then the payment came later, because I
Literally.
see a lot of memes on Instagram like charge with your chest, like things just enticing people to charge money for services that they're just getting started at. And while I understand the logic, I think it does a disservice to you, because if you haven't actually got experience, then what value are you actually providing in exchange for this money? So I love that you guys went out there, you grinded, and then you got your first gig, which is 10K, which is massive.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And then it's interesting because people don't usually talk about how much you get paid for campaigns, but campaigns, you get a lot of money, especially if your content, like even people like Guap, they make amazing content, and if people see that you are putting in the work, they'll pay you more money that they will go out to an agency for. So as long as you're actually doing things that has purpose, people will pay you for what you're worth. So that is a hands down.
Yeah, and I think it's also the fine balance between having faith that people will pay you what you're worth, but then also having the confidence to charge some more in case they
Literally.
don't come back with a figure that you like. Yeah.
Higher.
Always higher. Bernicia, how about you? Where did you get the startup capital to start your business? Did you invest your own money? Did you seek investment? How did you get started?
Okay, so a little bit like Adelaide, I started with basically nothing. I had like the smallest kit ever, and I was always insecure, like going on set or going to any type of job. I just always feel like, well, I don't have enough. And I'd look around and see other girls' kits, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not there yet. But I feel like the main point is start with what you have and grow that slowly, and never feel ashamed of how small or how much you have, because I feel like in my first 3 jobs, kind of like you, I didn't get paid for it. Probably like for the first 6 to 7 months. And imagine being like a struggling makeup artist, like you've got this kit that you can just about afford, you're dragging that everywhere, and you know, you're not really getting paid for it. But I feel like the better my work got, the more I got confident to say, you know what, actually, this does kind of deserve a price tag, and this is what I'm worth. And kind of like you, I didn't start with the biggest, you know, oh, I'm going to charge you £1 million to do your makeup. It was just small. But the more I would like go out on jobs, I'd get more jobs, and I keep investing back in my business. At the time, I had a part-time job, and so, oops, sorry guys. At the time, I had a part-time job, which was amazing because it meant that I could still like afford to do as many jobs as I was doing, but at the same time be getting paid. So I would say maybe a year into doing makeup, I kind of like, maybe 2 years actually, I decided that I wasn't gonna work anymore because I'd actually built enough contacts to actually afford to like run my business properly. In terms of how I got my shop, I never spent money. Like, I'm so frugal with myself. I'm so like, as people would say, Ghanaians, we're like the tightest people in the world, and I was so tight on myself. And I remember saving up a lot of money, maybe 3 years in, and my dad said to me, why don't you buy a house? And I was like, yeah, like I'm 26, 27, like maybe I should get a house. And I said, I can either use this money to invest back in my business, or I can buy a house. And I'm like, there's always gonna be a house to buy, do you know what I mean? So it's so important to be able to look at the money you've got or whatever and try and invest in yourself. And I feel like that's something that in our community we don't do enough. Like, we kind of see it as this is the goal, but there's so much more out there. So I remember, like, I got to that point and I said, Daddy, I'm not gonna do it. All of this money is gonna go back into my business. And yeah, that's basically what I did. I got my space. And I remember, like, by the time I was done with like doing up my shop and actually opening it. I remember at the end of my launch, I quickly went on my HSBC app and I looked at my money and I was like, I've got £750 left. That's less than my rent. Like, this has to work. And I feel like it's, when you invest in yourself to that level, you have to go all out. And you have to kind of like challenge yourself. You have to make yourself uncomfortable in order to reach your goals. So I feel like the more uncomfortable I made myself, the more determined I was to prove that I have to get myself out of this situation. A month later, I looked at my account and I was like, wow, is this what happens when you invest in yourself? And now, months down the line, I'm like, I'm ready to start, products now. I'm ready to invest in myself properly. So yeah, I would say that's it.
That was a great answer. And I think investing in yourself doesn't always have to be money spent. A lot of the time,
100%.
it can be time spent. So it can be time spent reading, time spent listening to podcasts, time spent attending events like this where you get to meet like-minded people and find out about the experiences of others as well. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Zelica and Charlotte, my question for you both is going to be how you secured your first client. So I'll share a bit of my story. So I initially thought of TreasureTress while I was working full-time at an asset management firm. And I started it as an Instagram page, literally on the side of my desk. And I was literally just posting pictures of women with natural hair every day and getting a tiny bit of traction. And I mean 20 likes or something. And I had 300 followers or something like that. But I was dedicated to it, doing it every single day. And then one day I got an email from Palmer's who had seen what I was doing on Instagram, understood the concept, and thanks to the fact that it was a black woman in the product management team, she understood the need for TreasureTress. So it was almost luck that we got our first client. I didn't actively go out and get Palmer's, they approached us. And then that was a signal for me that it was now time to launch the subscription box. So I knew I was gonna launch the subscription box. I set up the Instagram page as a platform. And then once I got contacted from Palmer's, I was like, okay, we're good to go. And then I started cold calling other brands, literally searching on Google, scrolling to the bottom, finding a number, calling that number, and just doing it time and time again until I got in touch with the right person. So Charlotte, how did you get your first client?
So it's actually quite interesting. So I've always worked in kind of corporate marketing. So I started off in e-learning. Sorry, I put it really close. I started off in e-learning and it was quite boring, but that's the job I had. It gave me loads of training, enabled me to travel. Then I moved over to Hello Kitty and I was there for a couple of years and had the best time, my favourite character brand ever, and learnt loads. And then on the side of that, I was also doing my blog and I was working with hair care brands to review products and stuff. And then I went to work at WA for a bit, where I met Zelica. And then after a few months, I decided I wanted to go freelance. But I didn't really know what that meant. And I was like, I'm just going to go freelance. Cool, I'm just going to find some clients. But I had no idea how I was going to do it. And then I just happened to go to an event that my old boss was running. And I met just an old contact from blogging. And I said, I'm going freelance on Monday. And it was Thursday. And she was like, oh my God, I need someone immediately to start. I need some marketing help. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I put my out of office on at WA. And then the week after I started with that client, who was a hair care brand. And then the same week, I got an email from another hair care brand who I've worked with for many years on the blog side. And she said, I've just seen your out of office at WA. I need you to come in for a couple of months to help me to do some projects. And I was like, freelance life's actually really good. It doesn't always work like that, I found out now. But so that's how I got my first client, because it was just, I've worked forever in corporate life, but I always had the blog on the side. And I always knew I wanted to work as a marketer, but I really loved the blogging side. So I always wanted to keep it up. And I always had really great relationships with the brands that I worked with. And that obviously paid off because I now still work with them, and it's been coming up almost a year, and we've got great relationships, and I'm still being paid, so it's really great. So yeah, best client.
I think that's a great answer. And you mentioned relationships, which are really, really key. And I think a lot of the time, if you're already working and you decide to leave, there is temptation to be extremely bossy when you're leaving and just cut ties with everyone and forget everyone, when in actual, yeah, literally, in actual fact, you should maintain those relationships because you never know who's going to move where or who's going to become who. So Zelica, how about you?
So I was made redundant, and I basically stayed in bed for about 3 weeks. And then my best friend is an amazing marketing consultant called V Roberts, and she had started her business the year before. And so she was like, so when are you starting your business? And I was like, I can't do it. And then she literally phones me every single day. I was like, so what's your name? You know, what are you going to do? And I literally started my business because I just wanted to shut her up. I just couldn't have her phoning me again to ask me. So another friend of mine had started up a virtual assistant business, and I thought, oh, well, I could do that because it means I could work from home. And I hadn't been working in my job for very long, so I probably got a month's salary plus a bit of holiday pay. So I really didn't have any money. And what I decided to do is there was a big agency that was like a virtual assistant business, and I just thought, well, I don't know how this whole industry works and how it works, you know, how you kind of get started. So I thought I would just work for them as a freelance virtual assistant. And I mean, the pay was rubbish, but for me, it was about the long journey. It was what I was going to get out of it, the systems and the ways of working that I could learn. So I got a client through them quite quickly, and then that kind of built up my confidence. So the first client I actually got, like, on my own, I was doing this marketing course, and I'm just really bad at marketing and putting myself out there. And it was a 3-month course, and after about 4 weeks, like, everyone was doing really well, and they were talking about all the clients they were getting, and I literally broke down crying, and I was like, I can't pay my phone bill, and the bailiffs have been knocking on the door, and one of the people on the call was like, you could be my virtual assistant. So that was like my first pity client. Yeah, a client's a client.
A client is a client.
But then 2 weeks after that, the woman who was running the course was saying, you need to, who's your client? Who are you trying, are you a niche? Are you going to just be a virtual assistant for sports people or coaches or whatever? You know, you've got to kind of niche down. I was like, I don't know, I kind of, when you're broke, it's like, I'll work for anyone. Yes, I didn't really want to niche, but she was like, okay, but then you have to understand who's your ideal client. You know, someone who's got enough money that they're building their business and they need someone to help them on the side, whether it be, you know, virtual PA or accounting. And so my friend's husband, I thought he would be my ideal client. So I gave him this questionnaire. So I wanted to know, where did he network, and what newspapers he read. And then he was like, well, what is this for? Like, you know, what do you do? So I explained to him what I did. And he was like, well, actually, I need a virtual assistant. I need a bookkeeper. I've got a pile of letters from HMRC that I haven't opened for 18 months. And I haven't done my accounts. And, you know, I haven't done my VAT return. And I really, really need some help with that. So he became a client. And then that's literally how I started. I haven't had one client I've got through marketing. Everyone has been recommendations. So he then recommended me to somebody. And then I went to maybe like a networking event, and then they recommended me to somebody. And it's just been like that. Like, I can't even remember.
Reputation and word of mouth.
Yeah, I think even Jamelia, I think it was at a networking event, and because of Maury, maybe we started talking. And so, yeah, so my network, my friends have been my PR. They've been my free PR, because once I started to talk, at first I was really embarrassed. I just didn't think that anyone cared about what I was doing. But once I started talking it up and saying, well, this is what I do, and I'm providing admin services and bookkeeping, everyone was like, oh, okay, well, if I know anyone who needs that service, I'll tell them. So, yeah, you know, definitely involve your network. Tell everybody, because, you know, they will be free PR for you.
Yeah, I think that's a very good tip. So tapping into the network that you already have, and sharing with the people that you know what you're working on and what your intentions are. I'm going to go back to you, Bernicia, and ask, who has been your most surprising client and what did you learn from them?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that with two people. So I think it's quite interesting. I've been very blessed to work with some really, really, really amazing women and men. I think my two favourite clients have got to be Chimamanda Adichie Ngozi. She's an absolutely amazing woman who I just feel so blessed to have been able to work with and to be able to work with, you know, all the time. So I'm her UK makeup artist now, which is great. She's just an amazing woman, and it's just shocking to think that, yeah, I'll work with her. It makes me feel like, wow, okay. You did that, girl.
You really did that. How did that happen? So how did you get her as a client?
I got her as a client because she followed me on Instagram. And then her team reached out to me and were like, she's going to be in London and she's going to be doing a lot of events in London. Do you think we can like get a trial done? And I just remember going to that trial and my head was spinning because I was just like, I have to make this has to be it. Like, I have to impress this woman. So I got there now and she was like really quiet the first time I ever worked with her. And I was like, that's it. It's the worst job of my life. She didn't even crack a smile. She didn't hardly speak to me. And then I remember like the week later, they were like, yeah, you're booked like 7 times, like next month and then a month after. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. This is something that's just amazing. And it gave me that confidence to say, you know what, I can actually approach people on this level and like, you know, just give it my best go and they'll like what I'm doing. My second favorite client has got to be Black China, because she's absolutely jokes. But it just goes to show like women on complete ends of the spectrum in terms of the way they present themselves and what they stand for and whatever, but they're both so powerful and lovely women. So yeah, those are my two favourite and surprising clients.
Cool, thank you. Those are really impressive. Adelaide, going back to you, was consultancy always the intention? Because I know that you do a lot of brand consultancy for brands, especially around the area of culture. Was that your intention when you got together as a collective, or was that literally just a byproduct of your hard work and the connections you had made?
Just a disclaimer, with Born and Bred, we never knew what was going to happen. Like, let me just put it out there. But no, that was never, ever the intention that we were ever going to go into, like, brand consultancy or just talking about how to help people's businesses. I mean, like, we didn't even know how to help our own business. Like, are we going to be helping, like, multi-million-pound companies? That was just a blessing in disguise. I think it's because simply we've always just done things organically and so authentically that it's difficult to, like, look past the fact that we're not making any of it up. When we're on radio, it is what it is. Whenever we do shoots or whenever we're thinking about like our zines or creating content, everything comes from an authentic and lived experience. Therefore, nowadays, most brands want to work with people who are living their truth. You do have the odd brand who obviously want to work with you because you've got 100,000 followers or etc. But most of the time, people will want to reach out to people who authentically have that genuine followers, or they genuinely have what they're looking for, not something, because you'll sit in a meeting with someone and it always comes across that you are not being yourself, and they know that. I mean, how many of you have walked into a room and met someone and been like, they're kind of fake? So brands know that too. People know that too, because brands are people. They're just people like you and me. Like, at the end of the day, they want people to believe in their product. And if you believe in what you do, of course people are going to jump onto whatever's going on. Just straight up.
Agreed. You mentioned winging it, which I think is a really important part, because when you start a business, you honestly don't really know what you're doing. You're just like, all I know is that I'm going to get through tomorrow, and I'm going to solve today's problems in order to get through to tomorrow. So do you guys have any really funny or entertaining examples where you've said yes to a project, a client, or a task, and you've had no idea what you were doing, but you managed to wing it and get through it?
Yeah, the Gap job. Like, that was like the first job we had ever had with that much money, and we were just like making figures up. We were like, just add this up. No, it has to get to 10K. And we were like, and I was like, we're going to get caught. And then it was just literally a circle of stupidness. And it was just mad because deep inside you're thinking to yourself, with your parents coming to this country, they wanted you to go to university to do things that you've learned in a book. And then suddenly, someone's giving you all this money to do something that they think you can do. Same with DJing. We were literally winging it on on live radio. We were winging it like it was just technical difficulties. Like, how can you do that? But then after a while, you learn from your mistakes, and we are constantly learning from things that we're doing wrong. Like, just the other day, like, we had to literally like stand up, hand on chest, and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to reply to this email. You have to be honest with yourself. But I think like one thing Chika says, she's part of Born and Bred as well, fake it till you become it. It's not fake it till you make it. It's fake it till you actually become what you said that you needed to be. And that has been our tagline from the get-go. Like, I'm sorry, but sometimes you just need to believe in yourself. Same way you knew that you wanted to get clients. That is what you need to believe in yourself in order to know that you can make that journey happen. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you? Like, real talk.
Real talk.
Sorry.
I think... No, I love that. Something that I notice as well is that when people start asking you for things, those are really good indications of ways that you can grow your business. So with TreasureTress, we were just a subscription box, and then brands started asking us to do other stuff, and we were like, yeah, let's do that. So the team just kept growing as we were like, we need to figure out a way to do this for this brand, so we're going to employ a new person, and she knows how to do this, so we're going to do it. So I think listening to your clients and listening to your customers is a really good way to understand how you can make more money through your business, and also refine your brand to make you really, really unique and really, really valuable. Charlotte and Zelica, we've not heard from you guys for a while. Have you guys got any experiences where you've said yes to something that you haven't been entirely sure of how to do just yet?
All the time. Which I really shouldn't even be saying that as a bookkeeper, right? You know, all the legalities and that. But yeah, I mean, it's say yes and work out how to do it later. I never did a business plan. I didn't have a strategy. I remember when I first started, my accountant said, you know, where do you want to be in 5 years? And then that means, you know, you could work out what you needed to do by year 4, 3, 2, 1, and 6 months. And I kind of was trying to do that, but I'm quite an impulsive person and a bit of a rebel, you know, like second born, don't care, we're going to do what we want to do. Yeah, so, yeah, I wing it all the time. So I'm not going to turn down a client. So if a client says to me, right, I really need like IT support, and do you provide that? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And
Fancy you mentioning it.
I will find someone to do it under the umbrella of my business. And that's literally, I've never been a PA, but you know, that I was going to offer that service in my business. And that's how I grew, because then I became a go-to person, because someone would say, oh, do you know someone who does HR? Yes, I do. And I would go on LinkedIn, I'd go on Facebook, just kind of Google like someone and have a few conversations with people, see if we could kind of collaborate and do it under the umbrella of my business. So yeah, I wing it all the time. Like, I'm not turning down a client. The only way I would turn down a client if I just didn't feel like we could vibe, like I didn't think we could get on, or I believed in what they were doing. Like, I gotta love you. Like, I literally will stand for you. Like, I'm your cheerleader. I will tell everybody about you. So if I didn't feel we had that kind of connection, apart from that, like we can roll.
Charlotte, I know that we've had conversations about bad clients, because saying yes to everything works out really, really well until you get that one client who doesn't want to pay you a lot but wants the world and more. And those clients can exhaust you of not only your money but also your energy. do you have any experience that you'd like to share as far as bad clients and knowing when to just cut the tie and
Yeah.
maybe refer them to someone else?
Yeah, I do. So I won't tell you stories, I won't name names, but I have had, when I first started doing my consultancy, I kind of said yes to everyone. So I've been working with hair care brands and mainly beauty brands, and that was great. And then this one client came on board that was completely different to everyone else, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. Like, I just said yes. If she wanted to know if I could do, have you ever worked in this industry? No, but I can do it. So I kind of had the first call, and I didn't vibe with her. I just knew there was something off. And then I took the job anyway, because I said yes. And it went a couple of months in, and I was just like, no. She was calling me on a Friday night at like 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, no.
Sunday at 9 o'clock, I'd be getting like WhatsApp messages, and I was like, babe, I'm not your friend. Like, why are you calling me? Like, I don't even answer the phone to my mum at this time. Like, why are you calling me? And it just got to a point where I was like, I'm really sorry. I can't do this role for you, but I have someone else that can do it.
Did you tell that person that you were sending them
Yeah.
their way?
I was very open, and I said, I've got this client. I don't vibe with her. You might, but she pays really well, and she's quite specific, but you can do the job. You just have to be aware. And I think she's a little bit more resilient than me. I'm not. I kind of like, if I don't want to do it, I'm just not going to do it. It's just like, okay, but I will put someone in place that will. So yeah, I just got someone else to do the job, and it's happened a couple of times where I've looked into the role, and I've just been like, no, this isn't for me, and you just know. And I think when you first start doing your own thing, whether it's you start a business or you're consulting or whatever, you want to say yes to everything because you want to make money, and you want to know at the end of the month that you're going to be able to pay your bills, you're going to be able to go out and have a good time. But sometimes it's really worth just saying no. And I learned that the hard way, because last year it was like up and down. It was like having an amazing year. There was 1 month and I was like, I am balling. Like, who wants to go out, guys? I've got so much money. And then the next month I was like, I'm so tired. I actually can't function. And then I realized it's okay. It's great to have money, but if you're working like 18-hour days, it's actually not great, because what are you going to spend your money on? Like, you buy a pair of shoes, but where are you going to wear them? Because you're not going out. So yeah, saying no is like the most important thing for me. And I've actually had to say no to someone this week. That's why I was like, oh yeah, I have a story. But yeah, I think that's something I learned the hard way. And I think coming from a working class family as well, where my mum's always embedded in me, like, you can do anything you want to do, you can be anything you want to be, but you've got to do the work, you've got to get there. So for me, that was like, yeah, I have to get the work, I've got to make the money, I've got to do it. But actually, no, just take a minute to think about what you're accepting, because when you work for yourself, you work ridiculous hours. I think we all can say that, but sometimes it's to the point where you have to think, why am I doing this? What am I benefiting from? Is this it will make my career go, will it make my career, go a little bit further? Will it make me look better on social media? Will it make me want to stay in bed for a month? Like, you have to just weigh it up. So yeah. Say no.
Saying no can be a very brave act of...
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Just protecting your mental health.
Yeah.
My next question for you all. So we've spoken about starting your business, how we got our first clients. My next question is going to be about how you grew your personal brands, your platforms, and your businesses. Who wants to go first?
Okay, so in terms of building my personal brand, it was about understanding what my audience want to see. So I feel like for me, what really pushed my brand was social media, Instagram specifically, because makeup is huge on Instagram. But I remember trialing out all these different things, because I'm like one of the makeup artists where I like everything. I like to do natural makeup, heavy makeup, scary makeup, all of it. I love it. And then I started to realize that, okay, what is my actual brand? Like, what are people going to look at and be able to attach me to? And I realized that, how do I wear my makeup? What do I do that, like, when I go out, I get the most compliments on, or people are attracted to me when I do that? And I think that's something that's really important. Sometimes a lot of people try and focus on just pleasing everyone, but you've got to be able to, know who your audience is and what they like to see. So I realized that my thing was a natural look, like to almost enhance people as opposed to completely change them. So as soon as I realized that this is my brand, this is what people are gonna know me by, I just decided that actually I'm just gonna like kind of focus on that, and I'll do it on all types of skin, specifically darker skin, just because I am a dark skin girl, and you know, finding the right type of makeup to make us look flawless and natural has been hard, like our whole lives. If you're dark skin, you know about it. So that was kind of like started out as my niche, and then as I grew, I thought, you know what? Everybody can get some of this glow, honey. Everybody deserved that glow. So like I would work on different skin types, and it just worked out. And I think, just utilizing my social media, understanding what my brand is, and just literally just pushing on that.
So would you recommend for people who have businesses that are extremely visible that they pay attention to Instagram, look at the insights, look at their peak times of posting, look at their most popular posts, and use that to drive their inspiration for the content that they produce?
1000%. Just understand your audience, because if your audience is 18, they're probably not going to be interested at 10 a.m. in the morning, because 18-year-olds don't really care. Like, they're going to be slightly later on during the day. My clientele, I would say, is anything between 21 and 40. Those are my clientele. They're normally in a job and all that type of thing. So literally everything I post, the way my models look, everything is around my target audience. What are they interested in? Like, what are they going to be excited about? So for instance, in the store, we do something called Model Monday. Not so much anymore, but we'll be back. It's coming back. But yeah, we do something called Model Monday, and every time we do Model Monday, it's all about having models that people are going to connect with. So our models don't have to be runway models. They just got to be women that follow us are going to relate to. Are they dark skin? What type of skin do they have? We specifically go after people who sometimes don't have the best skin, because we want to show that we can take any woman, no matter what you look like, you're beautiful, and we're going to bring out that beauty in you. And I feel like the older you get, you stop trying to look so, how do I put it? A lot of my clients don't come to me and be like, oh, Bernicia, I want the biggest beat with like the deepest cut crease. They normally want the little things that just kind of, I don't know, boost their look, their natural beauty. And so that's kind of what we focus on, really. And I think it's really important to use your Instagram to do that. Look at your insights. We could post like the baddest bee, literally figure eight, all of it. No one's gonna like it. And then you post like a normal woman with just clear skin, just a little bit of highlight, and everyone's, oh my God, dying for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, absolutely gagging for it. And it's like, okay, cool, this is what you like, I'm gonna give you more of that. And then slowly you just start bringing it in. That's it.
That's excellent advice. I know for me, I live and die by spreadsheets, and everyone on the team will agree with that. But an easy way to figure out what's working in your business is literally looking at your revenue streams and seeing which margin is the biggest, and then just driving that even more. How do you ladies figure out where in your business you should be focusing in order to see the biggest and the fastest growth? No one wants to answer this.
They all looked at me again. I think as DJs, that's our highest revenue income. Like, for a long time, it was like our fanzine. Obviously, consulting is always going to be a steady income, but our consistent largest stream of income is DJing, simply because we get booked for international gigs, we get flued out, and that's the one people are more inspired by, simply because I guess 5 years ago, seeing 5 black girls DJing and like having a good time was something that you only saw amongst yourselves in the club. But to see girls behind the booth actually playing your music to make you lot dance is something that slowly caught on. And there weren't a lot of DJs who were women as well, so we were a niche at the time. Now there's tons of women, which is amazing, and it's inspiring to see as well. But also consulting is quite a big stream for us as well, putting on activations within local areas for specific target audience is something that most people want from us, simply because we have tapped into the margin of black women between the ages of, it can go as low as 13, or black girls from 13 who are inspired by working within sisterhood groups to all the way up to 45, where we've done like zine workshops with older women who want to explore their creativity. So our bracket is quite large, but still we understand that the main focus is black women. So yeah, black women in America, in the UK, in Italy, which is really strange, but yeah, we understand that we serve black women who want to be inspired by seeing more of like sisterhood and people together, working together. So, yeah.
You've done an amazing job at our pop-up shop. You definitely brought a vibe, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Zelica, I've got a different question for you. Okay. So, you recently launched a podcast and you've launched your own app. How important has creating your own platforms, creating your own personal brand been for your business?
Well, I spent probably about 4 years of my business behind a laptop, and like I said, you know, all my clients come through recommendations, but I want it to be bigger than that. And people buy people. You know, I'll never claim to be the best bookkeeper, the best at what I do, but the reason people come to me is because of me. So I need to show more of me. So I wanted an excuse to talk anyway, but I just felt as though I have some really great conversations with people that I meet when I go out and about to networking events or just family members or friends. And so that's when I decided to have my podcast, like Lunch with Zelica. I thought, you know, when you grab lunch with somebody, you just kind of, you don't have long to talk, but you might talk about partners or kids or business or just current affairs, whatever's kind of going. So it was just kind of a way for me to have lots of conversations with lots of different people. But yeah, kind of people understand who I was, who Zelica Jones is. And that's what's going to set me apart from another bookkeeper. You know, like people aren't going through yellow pages anymore, just Googling a bookkeeper, someone that's going to have, you know, your sensitive information. It's like you don't lie to your accountant, right? Your doctor. You know, you've got to be really truthful. So it's, you know, if they kind of come recommended by someone that you know or someone that, you know, like a friend or family, or they just kind of see me somewhere, they're like, I really like her, you know, and they feel like I'm going to be a good fit in their business. So yeah, that's why it was really important for me to get out there, and that was the easiest way for me to do it. And why I did my app was just, I think that I forget that the knowledge that I've obtained over 20 years, not everyone knows that. Not everyone knows why, what's the differences or what the benefits of being a sole trader as opposed to a limited company, or what kind of expenses that you can claim back for, you know. Some people think, you know, like, oh, can't I claim back for my clothes? It's kind of like...
She's talking about me, by the way.
I was going to say, when I was talking to Jamelia, so we had this like big debate, because she was like, well, I'm on these panels and, you know, I can't wear the same outfits all the time. And I was like, well, you could. You choose not to. She's like, no, I can't. It's on Instagram. It's like, but you could. So it's a luxury. Unless you are going to have this dress with TreasureTress all over it, which then you couldn't then wear to a wedding, or you wouldn't wear it to church, or you might. You know, but it's basically, that's seen as a uniform. So if you've got your company name on the suit or the top, it's a uniform. Other than that, you can wear that leather jacket anywhere, right? You could wear it to the office, you could wear it out and about with your girlfriend, so it's not a business expense, but not everyone knows, and it depends on your industry, you know, what you can claim back. And
Can I claim back hair products? I've never asked this question.
Yes, because that's
There
part
we
of
go.
your business.
If you're a blogger and you talk about clothes, can you claim back the clothes?
If you're a blogger and you talk about clothes, can you claim back your money for clothes?
I think that you could argue, because as a blogger talking about clothes, and you've got to be, and then there'll be loads of brands that are like giving you.
I'm becoming a
giving you
blogger.
stuff. But yeah, like if doesn't mean you could have bought hair products maybe for your niece. I see hair products, I'm still gonna put it through. But you know, it just depends on, it depends on industry. But yeah, again, that was like the podcast was my personal branding, but the app is more about me as the expert, me showing my knowledge. So, the app, even if you've got a new job and you've got a pay rise and you kind of want to work out what does that mean, what I'm going to end up with, how do you even work that out? So that's on the app.
What's the app called?
So if you Google, so it's on Google Play or app, what's it called? The iTunes
App
Store.
Store.
So if you put in My Bookkeeper, and then it will ask you to put in a code. So if you put in VAS, so that's VASS, and it will get to my one. So it's like a standard app, but I've customized it for all the things that I feel like people really need. So if you're a business owner, there's a receipt capture on it, so you can take pictures of all your receipts, and it means that you can download it as a CSV, like a spreadsheet, and so it helps you to do your tax returns. You can capture all your sales invoices.
It's amazing.
You can do your
I'm actually blown away.
yeah, I mean, your mile tracker, so if you're driving, you don't even need to switch it on, it will automatically calculate. So if you've driven here today, when you got here, it will say, oh, I've captured your information, so it will tell you exactly how many miles, and so up to 10,000 miles you can claim back 45p a mile. So just things like that as a business expense, because it's, we all have to pay tax, but we don't want to have to pay more tax than we need to, So it's all about claiming back for those tax deductible things. So it's really important that you're keeping your receipts, because, that's chipping away at the income. So, if you're bringing in 20,000 and you kept no receipts, well, you're paying income on that 20,000. But if you can show, actually, I spent 15,000 on products or equipment or whatever, it's only being calculated on 5. Like, I would rather pay, tax on 5,000 than 20,000. So, the app enables you to do that. So you can, receipts, they fade and you get oil on them, or you forget what it was for. So it's on your phone. As soon as you've bought something, take a picture of it, and it's there. You've got important dates, so to remember when to do your tax return or when to pay your payment on account. Gives you different financial news. So when the budget comes in, it'll give you like a summary of what's going up, what's going down, what's changing. So it's just kind of like it literally is like having a bookkeeper in your pocket. You can just, if you should be on a salary or getting a dividend. So yeah, check it out, please.
Yes. And then it's called My Bookkeeper.
My Bookkeeper, yeah. Just put in VAS and it will take you to my one.
Perfect. And are there any other, say 3 tips you could share with the audience who may be getting started with a business or may have just got a new job, of ways that they can better manage their personal finance?
Okay, so again, I think from the very beginning, it's really important that you install these admin and finance systems. So you always want to make sure that you're profitable. I don't necessarily track how much money I'm making in different, well, yeah, I do, but that's not, how much money I'm making is not necessarily the most important thing. It's how profitable I am. It's no point I made 100 grand, but I spent 99, so from the very, very, very beginning. So even if you're using your own bank account to pay for things, for your travel or eating or your equipment, what I suggest is each month downloading each month's statement as a CSV, as a spreadsheet. Delete all your personal stuff, so it just leaves all the stuff that you spent on your business. And then if you set up a spreadsheet, so each tab is a month, then you've got all your costs that you spent on your business each month. And then you can put in your income, and then you'll see how profitable you are. It's just really simple. You don't have to have any fancy systems. Start with a spreadsheet, because, like I said, yes, it's important how much money you're making, but for me, it's more important that you're profitable, that you're keeping that money, not just kind of spending it. So from the very, very beginning, keep track of everything, every receipt. Keep a copy of it, because you never know what you can claim back from what you don't. If you've got someone that can help you do your tax return, which is always a good idea, they'll tell you, no, you can't claim that back, but it's better you kept everything, because there'll be things that you didn't even know you could claim back. Another good thing.
What's the most surprising thing you've been able to help someone claim back on their tax return?
Like, people don't even know that they can claim back part of their rent and bills if they work from home. you know. So if you use your living room as your office, say you live in a 2-bedroom home, and so your front room is included as a room. So if you use the front room half the time on your business, you would take, so if you've got 2 bedrooms in the front room, that's 3. You can take into account your rent or the interest part of your mortgage, and then your gas, electricity, internet, telephone. So if you used your front room half the time, you would take 1/3 of the total cost and then half it. And that's what you can claim back each month as a home office. So you can kind of keep a spreadsheet of all the things that, you kind of use as part of your business. Like you need the electricity, you need the gas, you need the telephone, you need the internet, you need space. So it's kind of like charging yourself rent, but then you can put that down. So that's all. So yeah, people they're like, but I just work from home. I don't have an office. But it's like, that is your office, you know? Or, taking track of their mileage. It's like if you are, you're not supposed to claim back if you fill up your car with petrol, you're not supposed to claim back that whole petrol receipt unless it's a company car, but you can claim back the mileage. So every meeting that you're going to, if you're keeping track, and there's lots of things out there you can keep track on, but you could use your calendar to write down, so I went from SE1 to W1 and how many miles was that, and work it out, 45p per mile, and then kind of keep a tracking of that. Anything that you had to purchase as part of your business. So they think, some people just don't realise the sorts of things. Like you wouldn't have purchased that thing had it not been for you doing this. So yeah, keep track of it all. But yeah, I think it's those little things that people are like, really? I can claim back for my travel. But it's like, but you're a freelancer. Yes, you had to travel on the tube or the train or a bus to get to that place. So you claim it back. You have to eat. So you can claim back up to £5 a day for food. As long as you're not going to your normal place of work. So say my office is in Farringdon, so I can't claim back for my lunch around my office or around London, because you would eat anyway, and that's your usual place of work. But if I have to go and visit a client in Crawley, or have to go to Manchester or whatever, I claim that back. That's a business expense. I wouldn't have to have spent it there if it wasn't for the business. So yeah, it's all those sorts of things.